Hi everyone, and welcome to the Fit Summit panel, leveraging data and tech for experience, engagement and retention. I'm Olivia, the APAC Sales Director for Keepme, and shortly you'll see me on this panel. So before we start, I thought I'd give you a quick insight as to why I was asked to be on it. Keepme is the next generation sales and marketing tool created by operators for operators like you. Every day we work with sales and member data within existing tech stacks to improve member experience and give operators the insights and tools to help them create highly targeted engagements, which helps them keep and win more members. We're a global company, but we were founded right here in Singapore. Keepme came into creation through a pain point which many operators face. How do we keep our members for longer? As ex-operators for 12 years, we ran a boutique gym, Bandit.fit, right here in Singapore CBD. And we knew in order to future-proof our growth, we were going to have to spend as much energy in retaining members as we were already investing in winning new members. When looking for solutions to help us dive into the big grey area that is retention, we didn't find any software that hit the mark. So in true Vanda ethos, we made that solution ourselves. That is where Keepme was born. We knew we already had the existing value within the business, our data, we just needed the tool to unlock it. Given our background, we knew the pain points and challenges bricks and mortar operators face every day, and this has only been accelerated due to COVID. With the rise in digital disruptors, hybrid offerings, and evolving consumer fitness trends that exist outside of our four walls, we understand the competition for market share and the new threats that you are faced with. Keepme was created to give bricks and mortar operators the tools to compete within these ever-evolving conditions, and as our members' experience continues to increase. Every day, we see the way Keepme unlocks insights from within existing member data and gives operators the knowledge and tools to create highly targeted member engagements that helps you attract, win, and retain more members. With clients in 11 countries that vary from single-site operators all the way up to 100-site groups, we've seen some incredible results as a result of marrying the member data with Keepme's technology. These results span every area of their business, from sales and retention, and even winning back frozen or cancelled members. In 2021, our clients have already achieved some great wins, including increasing average length of membership by 1 full year, improving sales conversion by up to 10% within just a few weeks, and remarkably seeing clubs achieve 0 inactive memberships. What makes Keepme unique is our use of artificial intelligence to spot opportunities and automate the sales and marketing processes needed to convert these opportunities into revenue. Keepme is the first true AI solution for bricks and mortar operators, and by utilizing this predictive technology, you're able to ask questions like, which one of the trials I have coming in tonight is most likely to convert into a membership? Out of all my trainers this week, which one has not only sold the most amount of memberships, but is also driving the highest retention? Who within my current member base is likely to buy a personal training package, and do they want a 5, a 10 or a 20 pack? Or perhaps which of my regularly attending and active members are slowly starting to slip away? Keepme doesn't only provide you with a list of members that are demonstrating these types of behaviours within a timeframe that enables you to act, but we take it one step further. Keepme suggests the best artwork, communication method, and offer to convert these insights into revenue in a totally automated way. So no manual work, human error, or bias plays a role in your processes ever again, ensuring successful engagements that increase member experience and convert into revenue. While this may sound very futuristic, the reality is any operator can start using AI today. AI is actually already all around us and influencing our decisions every single day. AI may have helped you determine which Netflix show you chose last night, or which route you took to your meeting via Gmaps. With our members constantly being exposed to the new levels of personalization and enhanced offering across other areas of their life, fitness businesses need to evolve with that expectation. The good news is the ability to implement predictive technology within your current processes, teams, and tech stack exists already. Keepme has made AI more accessible than ever for your business, as you've already got the most valuable asset sitting within your club, your data, ready and waiting to be unlocked. You are one simple decision away from starting your digital transformation today. For more information on Keepme, please head to our website, which you can now see on the screen next to me, or drop me a message in the conversation box and I will answer them on or offline. Thank you for your time, and I hope you come away from this panel learning more about how AI and data can increase your revenue and how easy it is to implement the power of AI-driven technology in your existing tech stack and business today. Hi everyone, I'm Olivia Milne, the APAC Sales Director for Keepme, a proud Platinum Partner for the Fit Summit World Health and Fitness Week. On May 18th, I will be joining some of APAC's finest industry leaders for the Fit Summit panel leveraging data and tech for experience, engagement, and retention. Keepme is a next-generation sales and marketing tool for fitness operators. Every day we work with sales and member data within existing tech stacks to improve member experience and to give operators the insights and tools to help them keep, gain, and win back more members. At Keepme, we take a unique approach to member sales and retention because we are the first fitness-only platform which utilizes artificial intelligence. This enables us to predict when members are tracking to leave you, which leads are likely to convert, and which members are primed for an upsell opportunity. I hope that in our panel, you'll be able to see how simple it is to integrate AI within your business. If you'd like to find out more information about Keepme, head to our booth or check out our website, www.keepme.ai. Enjoy the event, and I hope to see you on the panel.
We've got some great guests to have some great conversation. But let me begin with you, Harry. Over the last 12 months, I think one of the favourite phrases out there has been that COVID has accelerated trends that were already happening anyway. From your perspective, what type of consumer trends have been accelerated in the past 12 to 14 months?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Obviously, during the shutdown, the acceleration to virtual was very big. But what we're seeing as an operator now is that the hybrid model is suitable for some members, but the majority of members are still coming back to the gym and experiencing the full gym experience, because that's how I talk to our investors, for example, that we offer an experience. And the hybrid model or the virtual workout from home doesn't necessarily provide that same experience as you can get in the gym. So in Australia here, where COVID has been pretty well controlled, as soon as we were allowed to open, the gyms, reverted back to nearly full capacity for us, and we're trading above capacity. So we still offer a digital offering. We're still, investing in that. In saying that, it's very difficult to monetize that digital offering for us, and probably for a lot of operators. So it's a cost center. But we're still seeing people in the gym, and I don't think we're going to see that it's going to fully replace the experience that you get. Remembering that humans are a tribe, are a community. They want to see people. They go to the facilities to get away from the kids, to get away from the stresses at work. They don't want to continue doing that. So it has accelerated, but it's sort of decelerated at the same time once gyms have opened and people have got to experience the full facilities again.
Okay, so that's a great point, Harry. It accelerated, but then it decelerated. Has the baseline increased versus pre-COVID? So do you think that your population, even though they've come running back into the four walls because they appreciate that experience of physically being with other people, do you think that the baseline has landed at a higher watermark, if you know what I mean, as in they're more susceptible or prone to be turning to digital as a solution than before COVID?
Yeah, I think pre-COVID, those that were using digital offerings had done the research and they were using those. And those that weren't hadn't done that. And then they were forced to look at those digital offerings during the shutdown. So some of those, as I've said, have remained. So I do believe the watermark is much higher than it was pre-COVID. But it's not high enough to create a significant change in our business strategy. It's still the experience that we offer, but we'll still continue to offer those digital offerings and trying to work out at the same time how to monetize them, I guess.
Yeah, got it. So what I'm hearing from you, Harry, is that digital content particularly will not necessarily substitute the workout inside the gym. It will supplement it and be additive rather than deductive to brick and mortar memberships.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, you know, if I wanted to do a yoga class on Saturday morning, but, you know, the kids slowed me down and I couldn't make the class, well, then I've got the digital offering, I can do it at home. But my first preference from what we're seeing is to go and continue doing it in the club, to get away and experience that and see friends and mates and that. But if I've missed that, then I've got that option, which is now much greater than it was, say, pre-COVID, and I'm more aware of it.
Yeah, look, makes complete sense. Let me cross to John. From your perspective as a vendor, what sort of consumer trends have you seen accelerated throughout the COVID period?
Yeah, thanks, Emmett. Yeah, look, you know, a little bit like Harry was saying, the stream content businesses are up big time. And it's the same. We see that just like the restaurant industry, where, you know, the restaurant industry has survived through adapting and shifting to, let's say, more focus on delivery and takeout. The fitness industry is no different. You know, we're seeing that users are consuming their fitness when they want, how they want, and most importantly, where they want. So that shifted, as Harry was saying, in the club industry. But, you know, I think it was Chris Clausen who mentioned it some time ago, used the analogy of like having a kitchen at your home versus eating out in a restaurant. You know, you might have some kit at home, but it doesn't stop you from going to eat out in a restaurant. And the same with fitness. So, you know, while some people might think that Peloton is a challenge to our industry, if you actually look at the Peloton figures, I think the last figures was about 164 million connected workout users amongst what they call their membership base of 3.1 million. If you look at the maths, that equates to an average of roughly one workout per week. So obviously people are now still engaging at fitness more at home, but it's not a matter of, is it the health club or the home? I think it's the health club and the home, giving the members more of a better experience and gives them that more flexibility. So what we've done, we're trying to launch partnerships with content providers. For example, we've tied up with iFit, and so now we can offer their programming on a range of products, and we're continue to offer more and more products that can enable members or users to consume content, whether or not it's at the home or in the club. So just giving them that flexibility.
Yeah, that's a really good point, John. And you jogged my memory. I was talking to Dr. Paul Bedford just last night, and we were talking about some of the data that he's coming out with. And not to beat him to the punch, because I'd hate to do that. It's his data. But I asked the question, I said, is a digital workout or a digital visit, if you would call it that, equal to an in-club visit when it comes to the prediction of retention? We all know that high visits leads to high retention. Does that apply to digital visits? And his one-line comment back to me, with a lot more data behind it that he can explain at another time, was that digital visits are worth about half a gym visit when it comes to predicting retention. So certainly valuable. So thank you, John. And that brings me to you, Sam, coming from Wexer. You guys, if I recall correctly, you made the pivot to digital before COVID, maybe a year before COVID, and you put a lot of resources into getting the mobile experience where it needs to be. So no doubt you've been very busy throughout the last 12-month period. But let me ask you, I'm on the phone and Zoom to operators around the world every day, every week, and some of them are sitting there saying, we absolutely must hybridize. It's the way of the future, and we need to have a digital solution. Of that group, some of them are doing it themselves, and some of them are working with vendors like Wexer. And then there's another cohort, and they're saying, you know what, stick to the knitting. This is not our core competency. Leave that to the squillions of options out there on the Apple Store, and just focus on delivering a really good physical experience. And I thought, you know, Harry sailed it and threaded the needle quite well there with his position on it. But from your perspective, obviously you take one side of that argument. What side is that, and why do you make that argument?
Yeah, I mean, look, thanks for some encouraging noises from everybody on this panel so far. But look, yeah, of course, I believe that operators need to be in the the hybrid model. One, because, firstly, we're all in the business of inspiring physical wellness, right? And we're all in the business of being relevant to our members 24/7, right? The first, because that's the purpose and passion for which we all enter this business, and why we're all motivated to succeed, to help people get fit and healthy. And we know that if we can reach them on as many touch points as possible, that's the clearest and simplest way to create meaningful change for our members and help them enjoy a healthy life. But of course, the second reason to be a 24/7 entity, and in this instance, I mean, be accessible to people in their home, is because it makes commercial sense. The other part of the business that we are in, both kind of proactively, and defensively. And, John, you and Emmett were talking about what it means to have a visit to your digital site. And how that equates to a physical visit in club. Well, we don't need to relitigate the sheer volume of choices that there are for people to work out outside of the four walls of your gym. There's plenty of opportunities for them to do that. That's a massive pressure on the mind share of an operator. We want our members to be working out within our facility. We want our members to be thinking about our brand and touching our brand when they're outside of those four walls. And look, if you have a member that's been coming to your club twice a week, and now they're doing one workout at home and they're only coming to your club 1.5 times a week, what's the impact for you for your churn? What's the impact for you for the lifetime value of your member? That's just some basic maths there. So I want that visit to be a club's visit, and for that to affect tenure of membership and be value and achieve, revenue and results for the operator.
Yeah. Well said, Sam. Crossing to you, Liv, I was in a conversation again recently a few weeks ago, and we were talking about data and how data was being used. And Myzone has just hit its 10th anniversary. For those first 10 years, we've been using data for behaviour change and creating point systems and giving feedback and encouraging people to put in the effort to do exercise, gamification, social media and whatnot. But there really does feel like a shift right now into using the data to be valuable in terms of predictive analytics, so that you can be more effective and efficient with your business. And that, of course, is the business that Keepme is in. For the operators out there who haven't really put a lot of time into artificial intelligence or machine learning or predictive analytics, can you just explain how data can be helpful for these type of business applications?
I think, a big kind of grey area in the industry as a whole is the AI piece that you mentioned. I think if you look at consumer expectation outside of fitness, so whether it be Netflix or Spotify or Deliveroo, and the level of personalization and prediction that you're being served at every turn when using these products, which are within our everyday, members' expectations are only increasing. I mean, even if you look within fitness, your Whoops, for example, your Myzones, the recommendations you get off the back of those devices, there's a reason why operators should be using these, this kind of, predictive technology that you said. From a business perspective, it enables to, really relay a level of personalization, customization, and automation behind all these processes, which with forever changing market conditions, I think automation always helps. But for us, I really see that AI is very powerful, but it just isn't being utilized by our industry as a whole. The great thing about it is that it's really simple. There's already the devices out there, such as Keepme, that already introduces that within existing tech stacks. Operators that we speak to every day, you have the data. You've got the biggest asset, that your business has. It's already sitting within your member management systems or your equipment providers. You have all of that data. You just need real connectivity, I think, as the first one. And also, as I said, a tool to kind of unlock the value within it. I think the expectations of operators, of members, are only going to increase. So we really need, as an industry, to really to be hitting home that level of personalization through, Wexer and Matrix doing great jobs at that as well. But I think in terms of member engagement and retention, operators can really drive that as well.
Yeah. Okay. So thankfully, you mentioned that the data is already there. So let's go through some of the examples that may be silos of data. So you mentioned member management. What other types of information?
Sure. So, I mean, if you look at as a, not to plug shamelessly my CEO's recent white paper, but if we're looking at an ecosystem of fitness, as we've all touched on, members are, just because members may be frozen with us or aren't attending with us doesn't mean they're not inactive. It doesn't mean they're not active outside of our four walls. So I think connecting as many parts of that ecosystem, whether it be through a wearable, Myzone, for example, we're working on integration at the moment, whether it be through, the existing data within the attendance data, the booking data that's in sort of member management systems or booking solutions, and just trying to get us access to as much data as we can on that individual. Also looking at their marketing results. So who's opening, who's clicking, which platforms they're using on social. As long as you're connecting all of these things, and the more powerfully you can connect everything, the better picture you get on that member and the deeper the insights and suggestions that you can make. So, rather than just sending a generic offer to someone, you can send an offer that's really going to hit home. Personal training, for example, we'd be able to tell things like who's primed for a 5, a 10 or a 20 pack, which artwork's going to resonate more. Is it a female or a male? And you can drill that personalization down as long as you have the data feeding into it. But as I said, everyone already has these silos of data. So it's just a case of connecting them and then applying the AI to it that sort of enables you to then elevate that out.
Yeah, got it. So given that we've got the data and it's out there in the silos, and given that we all generally understand that it's powerful because we've had the experience with Netflix, with the recommender engine and Amazon and whatnot, so we get that we can be more effective and efficient if we use data. Why is it that the industry has been slow in the uptake of applying this type of analytics?
I think there is generically across the board a bit of a scare factor when we talk about AI. It sounds incredibly futuristic. And I think sometimes when I speak to operators and I say, we can predict, which members are applying for which opportunity at which pack using which artwork, it seems kind of out of reach. When as I said, the reality is it really isn't. It's very much being utilized every day by operators. We see that. I think often, maybe the hesitation is towards, it's strange because everyone is so obsessed with tracking their own wearable data, and the hygiene that we get from data is great. It's just often, as I said, there isn't necessarily been a tool that's really plugged everything together and then drawn out that insight into actions, which is really, I guess, where we saw an opportunity. But as an industry, as I said, we're good with our data hygiene and we're good at collecting wearable data. We just need to maybe relay that more into our marketing and internal processes.
Yeah, I understand. So, Harry, let me cross to you as an operator. I know that you've got significant chops when it comes to IT, so we probably couldn't have a more relevant operator on the panel right now. What is your take on all the data that we've got and all the data that we can use and the application of it? Where are you at with it?
Yeah, so I agree with what Olivia said. There's a lot of data out there. And operators just don't know how to use it. I mean, we have a whole division here that just analyzes that data for us. Our area managers are analyzing that data live every day. And operators that do have the data are sometimes looking at outdated data. And that's really interesting because a lot of the times we're in the acquisition business where we acquire a lot of clubs and we ask them for, what's your current membership number? And it takes them, significant amount of reports just to get that number. Where for us, we have dashboard screens in our offices which are telling us the live member number to the minute, down to the second actually. But the data is so important, and it's not just the AI side of things. Like we've acquired clubs and we throw the membership data into our analytics software that we've built. And for example, at one club we acquired, it came up and said the membership is 70% female, 30% male, right? And we'd acquired that club and we said, well, we know straight away there's a problem there because a club should always be 50-50, 55-45, somewhere around there. And that's what we're seeing across our whole portfolio. So what that means is that there's not enough equipment in there to attract the males, which are only 30%. Because when you've got a club with 70% females, you're going to have the males following them, but they weren't following them at this club. So we made a quick change. We moved the cardio area out, and this is all based on that one data point. We've moved the cardio area out of the strength area. We added more strength equipment in, and we're able to bring that back down. It's about 52, 58, 42 at the moment. So bring it back down to a normal level. but we didn't lose female members. We just gained more male members. And what ended up happening is we grew that club from 2,800 members to 3,300 members. And it's still sitting above 3,300, just checked my board. And, you know, $500,000 upgrade once off and $500,000 a year recurring revenue moving forward. And that's that one data point where, you know, clubs just don't look at it. They go, oh, well, we just have more female members. But we're digging deeper into the data even more than that. I mean, we know how many members go to our clubs. We don't know what they do when they get in there. Are they going to the strength section and they're going to cardio and then they're going back to the strength section and then they're going to stretch? You know, what are they doing when they're actually in there? Now, when you have one club, that's easy, but you know, we have over 100 clubs that we own. It's a lot harder. So we're building technology where we'll be able to monitor the sections of the clubs at every hour of the day and how busy they are. We're able to, you know, hot map areas and things like that. So that's where our thoughts go. You know, providing a treadmill in our club is the same as a treadmill in every other club. You know, the experience is slightly different, but the more data we know, then the more things we can follow up. So, you know, a member swipes in, they go to a body pump class every Monday at 5 o'clock. Well, the data will tell us that. We'll be able to record that that member went to that class. So then we can hit them with an alert on their phone. Hey, there's another body pump class added on Tuesday. You know, we don't have to send that to someone that never goes to a body pump class because we know they've been in a body pump class. So it's a whole ecosystem we're building based on the app that they use to gain access to our club. So rather than using the old plastic fob, they use an app. The app then talks to beacons. The beacons then talk to a server. We know exactly what's going on. So they're the sort of things that we do. It's all about the data for us.
Got it. Harry, I was really intrigued as to what technology you were using, and you delivered the answer at the end there using beacons. And correct me if I'm wrong, but beacons need to see smartphones with an app downloaded in order to read, right? So you're sitting there, and if I'm a member of your club and I'm on the treadmill and I've got my phone with me, that's how it will identify that it's me on that treadmill.
Yeah, and the phone is an important thing to understand because it's the most personal thing we have, right? And people don't understand that because if I say to you, can I borrow your car? You'll go, sure, here's my keys, go. And if I say, I'll bring it back tomorrow, you go, yeah, okay, bring it tomorrow. If I go, can I borrow your phone and I'll bring it back tomorrow? You're like, no, you make a phone call, but you can't take my phone, you know? And that's why, you know, we've focused on the phone and the tech for access control, and everything else through there. But yeah, the beacons talk to the phone, and you know they're carrying it in their pocket when they're, you know, listening to their own music or just carrying it with them when they're doing a workout, and that's why it works really well.
Yeah, very, very good. Thanks, Harry. So, John, you have a broad perspective working with operators, not only all over the Asia Pacific region, but of course you're connected globally. What are you seeing and hearing from the operators when it comes to data? Are they asking you for specific data from your equipment? Are they asking you to API that into one of their warehouses? What sort of conversations are happening out there?
Yeah, look, it's really varied. It really depends on the level of sophistication with our customers. You know, obviously, if we're dealing with key accounts and some of the bigger, more sophisticated operators are really leveraging their data to create, let's say, more personalized, meaningful experiences. But, you know, the world is not full of key accounts. There's lots of mom and pop stores down there. You know, I have to say, your average experience when you go to the gym, it's pretty basic. And so whilst I might be talking to a sophisticated operator about data and how do we use data, a lot of these operators often fall in the trap of wanting more data, but not really understanding what it means or what to do with it. You know, obviously, I can see Viva doing a really, really cool job. For example, you know, we've had the asset management, it's like a digital asset management solution around for some years now. And that solution connects all the products together, enables an operator to see who's using the equipment, what time of the day, what equipment is being used. So are the treads more popular than the strength? Are the bikes being used, recumbents used? How long are they using those products for? Should we rotate the products? Do we have too many treadmills? Do we not have enough? And by looking at that data, we can analyze and then give feedback to our customers to say, hey, you've got too many treads, or you need more climb mills, or, the ladies in the mornings are using this, so let's change around and create more fluid spaces. So certainly the data is there, but the pickup is really, really low. And even, let's say, forget data, just look at the functionality of products in the gym at the moment. If you just take a strength training product, it's got converging movement, it's got diverging movement, it's unilateral, there's a fixed path, there's a user-defined path. I have to say, I think even at that very basic level of utilizing the equipment at its most basic form is still a long way to go in parts of our industry. And so I think that we as a manufacturer, we see that as one of our biggest challenges, is how do we help our customers get more from the product, even at a very basic level of knowing how to get more from the strength training, so that there's variety and progression in strength training, which we know is critical, or at a more sophisticated level and saying, hey, how do we leverage the technology and the data that is there to enhance the way that sort of enhance the member experience? And still people talk about it, but there's that 90%. We know that 90% of users still use a green button on the treadmill. And yet, we as a manufacturer probably partly to blame, because we got an enormous amount of features on those cardio. But I think that it's our joint responsibility to train and educate the people on the floor, the floor staff, the PT staff, to help train the members how to get more from the product. Otherwise, they keep pushing that green button, and then they don't have choice. They're not getting a good experience, and they give up because they're bored.
Yeah, yep, I hear you, John. And I even use that green button. And I've been going to the gym for a while now. So, guys, I feel as if the conversation has broken technology so far in this conversation into data for the purposes of reporting, because reporting is important to make decisions. I spoke about using data for the purposes of behavior change, feedback, gamification, and whatnot. Then we're talking about data or data it depends what Zoom call I'm on, data being used for predictive analytics. And then we're talking with Sam about technology and data in terms of virtual content. And, when you look at it all, it really does come down to the catalysts that sit behind it. So many people don't know that it was Leonardo da Vinci that came out with the first pedometer, right? So the pedometer was built way back in the 15th century. So that technology is really old. And in fact, Fitbit picked it up well before you knew the name Fitbit as a household name, and they had a pedometer. The problem with that pedometer was that you have to take it off your belt, stick it into the side of your laptop through the USB, and then manually upload it to an account and take it from there. The catalyst that really helped Fitbit was, of course, the cloud and Bluetooth, right? That was the innovation that all of a sudden made the pedometer a lot more convenient. It went to the wrist, all of a sudden it was in the cloud instantaneously, and the value was created. And I feel as if with everything that we're talking about here, now that we've got 5G on the way and we have the Internet of Things on the way, and cloud computing is a lot stronger than it was even just a decade ago. I remember when CRMs just a decade ago were still very much on software, not in the cloud. It feels as if that will provide the tailwind for us. So with that said, let me cross to you, Sam. We're talking about virtual content, but let me ask you, have you had many operators request the back-end data from what you're doing at Wexer so that they can plug that into their warehouse and then do their predictive analytics on it? Or is it too early stage for that? Is that blue sky thinking at the moment?
Yeah, look, we do, obviously, we have a relationship with Localytics, so we expose the data and let our clubs use it. And I believe that they do in most instances. But I think some of this probably reflects, and I think this has already been covered in the conversation to an extent, it reflects slightly perhaps the maturity and some of the expertise that lives within the industry. There are some people like Olivia who are data experts, and you two Harry by the sounds of things as well. But for lots of people, they've come through a GFN background or something else, and that's led them into club management or being a club executive or owner. But I think really the main thing to remember is just, I think there's a gap here about how we execute these programs as much as anything. And I think there's a few things that we need to remember first and foremost about how we this sort of the fundamentals about how we achieve excellence through our execution, and data might just be one of them. But I mean, just for an example, often I see people enter into building a digital experience for their members, perhaps from the mindset of we probably need to have this, but without a huge amount of thought about how they might market it or bring it to life. And just by the same extent, you wouldn't launch a group fitness experience inside your gym. You wouldn't license content and hire instructors but not put out a timetable. By the same thing, when you're launching a digital experience for your members, you need to think about it in the same way. I think operators need to think about what the desired outcomes are going to be before they launch a digital experience. The good news is those haven't actually changed. They're the same ones as we've always had. It's either a sales or a retention or an upsell. Those are the same business models that still apply. It's just you're using digital content in a digital business to achieve those ends. And much like some other participants here have talked about, I think having the right expertise within your organization to be able to achieve success with whatever digital model you've got. There's no point making a relationship with Olivia's organization unless you've got someone inside your business that can understand data by the same component. If you're going to launch a digital fitness component, you're going to launch your own digital gym to supplement your physical gym, which I would definitely recommend you do. You ought to have digital expertise. You should have a product manager running that category for you. You should have a digital marketing expert to help you market it. You should have someone helping you decide what the pricing, what the business model is going to be, and not leave that to the existing personnel inside your organization if you want to be truly successful.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Sam, because if you look at the group exercise offering in the brick and mortar scenario, you use up a lot of square footage, right? There's lots of rent to pay for that space. Then you've got a Group X instructor, then you've got the staff, then you've got the promotion of it, and it is its own standalone business. But if you incorporate a virtual offering into this, it's almost like you have to put maybe not as much time and effort into it, but you need to put time and effort into it, or it will come across as token and as a bolt-on.
Of course you do. Just think about it as your digital gym and give the same love and attention to it as you might your physical gym. Now, perhaps your physical gym is still the primary source of your income and your revenue, and you have assigned a certain value to your digital gym, so you can resource it accordingly, but you need to resource it accordingly. You can't just launch it, assume you don't need some product expertise or some production expertise if you're going to be filming and ingesting and producing content. Another thing I would recommend that you do, you've got great talent likely on board inside your business with great instructors and great PTs. Use that talent and export it to your members through your digital platforms, but you need someone to be able to help you on that journey.
Yeah, and Sam, I could imagine you would have had the conversation about Apple Fitness Plus no fewer than 1 million times in the last 90 days. And when you think of Apple and Amazon and Google, all big tech getting into our space. Of course, Google are acquiring Fitbit. They got held up a little bit in terms of the antitrust regulations in the US, Australia, and in Europe, but they're navigating their way through that, and I think they're pretty much through. But either way, they're getting into the space. If you add up the market cap of those three countries, it equals the GDP of Japan. And Japan has something like 120 million people and is the third biggest economy in the world, right? So all of a sudden, we have that magnitude in our space. Amazon, of course, have the Halo band, and they're listening to your tone. And so if you're being sarcastic, it will report back to you that you're being sarcastic. And of course, it's tapping into fitness. You've got Apple with not only the watch, but Apple Fitness Plus, as we've just touched on, and Google, like I said. So there is big tech in our space. Let me ask you, Sam, when operators talk to you about Apple Fitness Plus and say, well, you know what, I may as well give up, we've got big tech, they're bundling it into other offerings, and that's what Apple are doing. They're baking that recurring revenue bundle, it's being referred to as a rundle, in with Apple Cloud and Apple Music and some other offerings from Apple. When you have operators turn around and say, well, why even bother trying to go up against Apple? They've got content that's as good as Peloton's content. Do I understand you correctly that you're saying, you're essentially taking the position that the gym needs to have that relationship, because that relationship and that visit will get attributed to the brand, and therefore they're more likely to do good things like retain and spend more yield and refer? Is that the idea?
Yeah, of course. But what has Apple done exactly? To use your words, they've created an ecosystem of products, all of which have value across the chain, and that makes it more than the sum of its worth. Good news is that you, as a club owner, can do exactly the same. But what advantages do you have? Well, firstly, gyms have always been in the hyper-competitive business, because what's down the road from your gym? Another gym. And what does that gym do? It looks more or less the same as your gym, but how do you succeed? Because you give people a great experience, because you market it in a certain way, you create a reason for people to come there than somebody else. So of course, by that element, you're able to take on people. You're able to take on a hyper-competitive industry like digital fitness, because you're already in it. You're in physical fitness, which is about as competitive as it can actually be. But the thing that the secret weapon that you have is relevance. You already have a touch point with your members, because they come into your club, whatever it is, 1, 2, 3 times a week. They understand your brand. They like your brand. They're already paying your money. They like your instructors. They like your PTs. They want to see more of it. You're able to produce that content for them. The good news for a fitness game, the world is full of organizations that want to be quasi-media companies, whether you're HubSpot or Red Bull or whoever you are, you're trying to turn yourself into a content business. Club operators already are a content business. Maybe we just haven't realized it yet. There's a huge amount of value and strength of what we already have, and with the people that we have working for it. We have compelling, talented people that look great on camera and give people something that they really want to do. So I'd say use that content, use your relevancy, use your touch point and the passion that people already have for your brand, and go for it. You already know how to operate competitively. Use your strengths that you already have. Yeah,
Sam, you reminded me of Kevin Plank, who is the founder and ex-CEO of Under Armour. I had the fortune of hearing him speak at the Consumer Electronics Show in about 2015, I think it was. And that's when Under Armour were purchasing Map My Run, MyFitnessPal, Endomondo, spent mega bucks on those 3 acquisitions. And Kevin Plank came out and said, it's all about data. Data is the new oil, was the catch cry. And his point at the time was, look, we need to send the right message to the right person at the right time at the right price, so that we can cross-sell them items. So, for example, they know that you've run a certain amount of miles in your running shoe. They can now message you to sell you new running shoes and position it as an authentic, helpful message, not just a 20% off a pair of running shoes. Now that, of course, in theory works really well. Unfortunately for Under Armour, they either went too early, or they didn't execute it right, or they just didn't find truth in the hypothesis. But they ended up selling down a lot of those assets. I think it was, I don't want to make the numbers up, but I think Under Armour, my Run was sold at 30% less than what they purchased it for, and they're starting to divest out of that. However, they're not giving up. They do have a running shoe out there that does have Bluetooth in it, and it's measuring the miles. So they're still going down that path. They just probably had eyes that were bigger than their stomach. Now, Liv, you said something before that reminded me of a conversation I had with Troy Morgan, a good friend of ours out of Queensland in Australia. And then after talking to Troy, I saw a white paper come across my desk, maybe on social media. Troy's a fantastic operator, one of the best around legitimately. He's a thinker and a doer. and he's using your system. And we've only got a few moments to go, so maybe in a minute flat or 90 seconds, would you be able to explain to us what Troy has achieved at his club in Toowoomba, Queensland?
Of course. Yeah, as you said, Troy is an absolute joy to work with. And he's actually been, him and the team, Brent, have been very forward-coming in giving us client feedback, and really were the drivers behind Keepme Sales, which was our sort of third part of our pillar of our business, which we launched this time last year. From a sales perspective, they increased their sales, I think, 8% within 3 weeks of using Keepme Sales. Their conversion rate was increased that rapidly, so that was very positive for us. From the membership side, I could be here all day and tell you about the successes. They increased referral traffic by 33%, I think, within the first few months of onboarding with us. They have no inactive members, increased lifetime value by a year. They use the platform in such a sophisticated way, and it, as I said, really is a joy to see the results they get out of Keepme, whether it be from operational changes that they've made, or working with Myzone at the moment, just to increase that member experience the whole way through, in and outside of the club. So yeah, I think it really is those kind of pioneers and those operators which are going to drive the digital change forward for operators like us. To John's point, we have varying sophistication of operators across the board, but I think over time, with people like Troy and Harry, with those beacons, it sounds amazing, really driving that change. I think over time, operators will really have to get on board with some of these new technology kind of offerings to help them compete within the market, not only from sort of digital disruptors and not even from consumer trends that are obviously always evolving as well, but also from other operators. So I think it's, hopefully sparking a very healthy competition. But yeah, we've seen some great results, and Troy's really been a great partner to work with on some of those changes on the platform as well.
Yeah, so Liv, the $64 million question, how much time and effort did his management team have to put into this to get the outcomes that you're talking about?
To be perfectly honest with you, I think when people hear, how long's onboarding going to take, they kind of envisage it as much of an onboarding as maybe changing member management system. Our onboarding takes 4 to 6 weeks. It's really minimal. I completely agree with your point about having a point of contact in the business, Sam, that is an expert or just really has a consideration and understanding of many different touch points within the business, but is maybe more data led. Brent is that guy for us, with him and Troy working together. But in terms of their resources, not too much. We have an incredible data science team which do all of the hard lifting, and I'm just here talking about it. They're the ones that really slave away at it. From a consumer perspective, there's not really much needed other than someone that wants to really get on board with the product, obviously drive that automation through. So yeah, not actually a great deal of time from their team. But having said that, they do use the platforms in very weird and quirky ways and push it to its absolute extremities. So I think Brent does have fun doing that. But to get up and running with Keepme, as I said, really just requires a good point of contact, 4 to 6 weeks. And then our training sessions are just 1 hour. So we have 2 of those, and then you're good to go.
Right. It's a machine that just works after that, which sounds fantastic. That's what we all want. Plug, play, and get on with it. But as we come to a close, I'm going to ask the same long-term question of Harry and then John after that. And that is around where technology can take us. We don't seem to get a lot done from a day-to-day, week-to-week perspective. We always think we can get more done in that short term, but we're always amazed in what we achieve over the period of a decade. We all seem to get a lot done in that period of time. So first of all, Harry, from an operator perspective, if we jump forward to 2031, what do you see being a reality from a technological and data perspective?
Good question. I wasn't sure you were going to ask that question, but I think it's just going to be more customized inside the club. So now, we talked about how Netflix is customized and looking at what you're doing, but I think it'll be more customized within the club. Sam talked about, you've got a gym and then you've got another gym down the road which competes. But really, our business competes with a free product. You don't have to pay us to run on our treadmills. You can go for a run, up and down the street, and that's free. So we've always competed with a free product. So it comes back to this experience approach. And one of the things that's going through my mind lately is how it can be more customized, because now we try and fit the square peg into the round hole by saying Monday at 5 o'clock, which is peak time, you will do body pump because that's what's available in our studio. But really, I don't want to do body pump on Monday at 5 o'clock. Like, I think it'll be more customized in the future where you might have a smaller live studio, but more virtual studios where people can go into the club and a 10-person studio playing yoga at 5 o'clock in that club. In Studio 2. In Studio 3, you can pick whatever you want. In Studio 4, you can pick whatever you want. So again, it's customized to the member on the group fitness side, I think is important. And more experiences like that in the gym will become more customized rather than just turn up and see what I'm going to do, or be forced to do what the group fitness manager tells you you're going to do on Mondays at 5 o'clock because that's the only time I've got free. So I just think it'll be, again, more customized, but in a physical experience environment.
Yeah, understand. And John, from an equipment perspective, I mean, a shoulder press is a shoulder press, right? There's not a lot to change with the biomechanics of that. And a treadmill that enables you to run inside whilst it's snowing or too hot outside is still a treadmill. Is the innovation going to come from the equipment in a decade from now, or will it be the software in the equipment, or is the chatter around VR and AR and all of this?
Well, it's probably a combination of all the above, Emmett. As you said, there's not an awful lot you can do around, let's say, some of the functionality of the products, but certainly I think how the members use it. So I think our members are going to demand more customization and personalization. A member has to want more choice. We know from research that giving a member a choice, or at least a perception of choice, is a critical factor of interest and enjoyment, especially when it applies to whether the competence is low or high with a member. So giving them that choice and how they use and interact with the product is critical. I think that whilst we talk a lot about the data and personalization, ultimately, as I said earlier, I think Chris Clausen mentioned it, you've got equipment at home, but people will still want to come to the club. So balancing this technology and data and the advances that'll happen, obviously, with equipment, balancing with the fact that we're still in the service industry. And I think that we need to do a better job at supporting, when I say me as Matrix need to do a better job at supporting and helping the operators understand how to get more from the equipment, because we're in a service industry and it's all about caring for members. So I feel that providing more care and service and that personalization and using technology to aid in that ability to engage with members more is ultimately going to give them a better experience. The big challenge is that we still only have 20% of the population, give or take 5 or 10%, engaging as members of our health clubs. So we have to use the club as a better platform to be able to reach out to people to give them a more enjoyable experience. And I think that, of course, will remain our biggest challenge for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and John, what a great way to finish out this panel. I think that's exactly what we've got to do. And if you go back into history and have a look at what the ancient Greeks did when they started the first gymnasium, the drivers of why they went to the gym as young boys working out, and then progressing from there was, number one, warrior fitness, and number two, believe it or not, vanity, right? And warrior fitness could be exchanged for functional fitness to live your best life. And vanity, well, hey, that means the same thing today as it did back then. So the job to be done hasn't changed. It's just the way we deliver it. And now that we've had the catalysts of technology, we now have the ability to deliver it in different ways. And those that are on the bleeding edge of the curve will get to learn it the quickest. And then we'll find truth the quickest. So guys, thank you very much for your time. This has been a fantastic panel. I've really enjoyed listening to you all, and I'm sure the audience have as well. So have a great rest of your day, and back to you, Ross.
Into the green zone now, girls. Here we go. Let's start building. Come on. Leg drive and pull.
Another day, another mile. You've been gone a good long while. Another hill, another climb.
10 seconds, double time, run. Run.
Let's get into that yellow zone.
So
Let's
much
raise the heart
road
rate.
still left to go. Where it ends, nobody knows.